Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC. And real quick, for everybody that stopped out to the live last night, thank you. It was a fun time. Just getting back and forth. A lot of everybody just talks amongst yourselves. It's a great time for just like minded people just to get together and fellowship. Uh, we just had a blast, just asking questions, getting to know each other. I always have a blast. So I'm looking forward to that. As of right now, we're going to do it again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. So if you didn't make it last time, uh, try and stop by next Wednesday. I'll keep reminding you. Those of you, I'll see you next Wednesday. So I'm going to jump right into this. So this is going to be the Israeli war updates, as well as some other headlines and different other things to keep in mind. So let's jump right into this. So the president of Vox calls for mass mobilization in the streets of Madrid amid the socialist takeover of the Spanish government. Now, if the reporting comes out correct on this, the co founder of Vox was shot in the face while heading over to the protest. Now, if you don't think that anything comes about that's not important, apparently to the people over in the Spanish area of the world. Let me move over. Let me play a video right here. I don't ever play videos, so if take a look at that. Okay, now I turned the sound off, but that is a lot of people protesting. So this is extremely important to them. So just keep that image there in mind. So moving on. Um, I'm trying to think of how to do this because every time you say a certain person's name that is from the Oval Office, it seems like the metrics play with you. Let's say B Ridden, B Ridden, B Ridden. Let's go with that. B Ridden is pushing for a ceasefire. Um, it's trying to do a way of getting some hostages taken back. The last I saw reports is it was trying to get about 10 to 20 hostages for a 3, maybe up to a 5 day ceasefire. Now, what's confusing is Netanyahu has come out and said absolutely no ceasefire won't happen. But then later, in a different report, says that yesterday and today, the IDF has opened corridors for a few hours to try and get civilians out of harm's way. So no ceasefire, but they will do safety corridors or civilian corridors or something along those lines. Um, what is also interesting is the numbers that's being thrown. So they want 10 to 20 for a 3 to 5 day ceasefire. Hamas has come out and reportedly said that if they will agree to a ceasefire, then they will release 2 hostages. And there's all this talk going back and forth about what a ceasefire looks like. And the last one that looks like it's getting some favor out of Qatar's reporting, doing some mediation between everybody. And instead of a total ceasefire, they're going to do about a 3 hour ceasefire a day. I don't know what you get, and what you can do in 3 hours, I suppose. But I don't know. We'll see how all that comes out and shakes loose. Just interesting data points. Keep those in mind. Now, uh, B. Ridden reports that he will reject any Congress bill that will allocate aid to Israel only without any funds being allocated to Ukraine. Now, I said that really slowly because I want you to think or have that sink in for you. So, we went full force when everything happened with the Russia Ukraine thing. Money, weapons, didn't matter. We went all the way up because if you remember the start of this, it was here's some stuff, we got your back. We're not sending tanks, we're not sending aircraft, we're not. And then it's like, oh, okay, here's a few tanks, but we're not doing this. Well, here's this, but there's a lot of interesting stuff, and it almost gets me to the consideration of if that didn't happen, okay, maybe that's just a Cold War, maybe they just kind of lobbed some things back and forth, but it never actually happened. Imagine what we would be pushing into Israel, okay? All that money, all that weapons would just fly right over into Israel. Would this Israel conflict be over right now, or the Israel war? Would it be over right now if we didn't take all that money and equipment and all this stuff over the past, what, year and a half ish, 2 years almost? How long has it been going on? I know over a year. Um, if we didn't push it all out there, if we just dumped it all into Israel, Israel would have had a ton of stuff. Would this war be over by now? It kind of makes me ponder about things. But that's in the past. We don't have a time machine. We're going forward with everything. Um, but keep that in mind, real quick. We push really hard. There is nonstop, 24-hour a day media coverage of the Israeli conflict or the Israeli war. Okay, and so it's we've got mass protests in the streets right now as of recording this. There is a student walkout in New York, and it is growing and growing. I think on my way home from work, I was flipping through, and one of the news stations had somebody there live on the ground, and you could almost barely hear them. All the yelling and all this, and they said, "Man, it's just growing and growing and growing, and it doesn't, it's not even to its peak yet." And people just looked angry and all that. So, depending on those when this comes out, you might want to keep an eye on what's going on there. This might be one of those first events that happen to where it's another rendition of the Summer of Love. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but tempers are flaring. A lot of people are gathering. It doesn't take much to push one person, and then you have a domino effect. Everybody's just angry and smashing and burning and everything else. So, data point, we'll keep it looking at it. So, within hours of each other, 4 different attacks on U.S. forces happened, all ranging from explosive device to drone attacks and one roadside bomb. Now, I don't know if that's coincidence, which I'm not much of a coincidence guy, or if this is more of a coordinated. They're up in their game, and it's starting to come at intensity and things like that, which brings me over to the official reports. Now, we don't know true numbers and all that. All we got is open source intelligence. So, from the US government, the official number of attacks on the US military bases and different things that we have in that area in Iraq and Syria is about 46. Now, we have retaliated twice, one of which was here recently where the US, targeted a weapons depot in eastern Syria. Now, if you do a quick math on that, we're going to round it up 46, let's say 48. So half of 48 is 24. So every 24 times, every 2 dozen attacks, okay, that's enough. The 24 is our limit. So I guess in this time, if we're going to do easy math, half of 46 is 13. So, or 13. Wow, 23. So 23 is our limit. You get to 24, there it is. So we just went through and did the weapons depot. So for me, if I'm on the other side, it's like, hey, we've got another free 22 shots before they even think about coming after us. It's not sending a very clear message. We're not doing any deterrence whatsoever. It almost seems like we're very reactionary. Like we can't see this stuff coming, which I know you're not going to see everything coming. I get that. But something seems really off about this. So, data point, we'll keep on to it. Now, in the interest of not taking up too much of your time, we're going to come back to the mainland, and I want to go over a little bit of economy stuff. Now, I am not an economist by any means, but this sparked my interest, and I started kind of looking into some different things, reading some different reports. Now, the U.S. debt interest bill will pass $1 trillion a year. That has doubled in the past 19 months alone. U.S. Treasuries are basically looking like they're going to hit a loss for the third consecutive month. Okay, things are not looking good. All this talk about the economy's looking great and the economy is good. People just don't know what they're talking about. I don't know about you. The last time I reached in my pocket was not the same. So at least for me, at the grocery store, other things, the gas pump, all that, it's not a good economy. My opinion. Let me know if you agree down in the comment section. Now, this comes out that the U.S. Treasury is borrowing about 500 billion a month, give or take. I was seeing different reports, different numbers, but it seems to be kind of an average. So, if interest rates stay around 5%, then by the end of 2025, the U.S. debt could hit $40 trillion. Now, 5% of that number I just said, with a T, not an M, not million, not a B for billion, a T for trillion. 5% of that is 2 trillion a year, which comes out to be about 45% of the annual federal income tax that they take in, or about 46% of the annual Social Security. Let that sink in. Just the debt. We're not funding any sort of science research. We're not funding building up a border wall. We're not doing anything to help veterans or homeless or children or infrastructure or defense or even going to the moon or whatever. Okay, we're just paying the interest on the credit card. That's it. And have you seen the credit card bill right now for US? It is at an all-time high. Everybody seems to be living off the credit card. It is insane. Give you a small story. We have a younger guy, and when I was talking with him, and he was sitting there saying, "Well, it's no big deal, to use your credit card. I can just go out and spend $20 at a dollar store, Dollar Tree, or whatever you have in your area, a dollar store, spend $20, throw it on my credit card. I can pay it off over time." And I'm going, yeah, but the running rate for a lot of credit cards is about 30%. Okay. So 10% of 20 is $2 times three, $6. So because you want to put it on a credit card, every $20 that you're running to the Dollar Tree, that's no big deal. It suddenly becomes 26. You do that a few times, and that $6 adds up a ton. Now imagine if you put a zero behind that. So instead of 20, you actually spent 200, which is a lot of people's kind of weekly or bi-weekly food bill. So imagine throwing that on the credit card. So instead of that six, now it's $60. That's a lot of money, and it's only going to get worse. So if you have the money, this is one of those times. Start, getting things in bulk. I said it on the live last night. If you've never canned before, and maybe you're a little hesitant or anything like that, go to a big box store that sells bulk items. So like in my area, it's a Sam's Club. Buy the really big, like 2 gallon thing of tomato sauce. Pop the top on that and throw it in some mason jars and learn how to wet bath and can it. One, you're learning the skill. Two, you bought it in bulk, so you're saving money. Three, you now have individual sized portions of that. It's a win-win-win. So it's one of those that it's really important right now to be able to go through and take inventory. What do you need? Winter's coming up for most of us, so it's that time where you need to take inventory. Do you need food? Do you need water? Do you need extra blankets? What do you need? So hopefully everybody had a good day. Know we're getting ready to come into a Friday and then head into the weekend. So one more day, everybody. If you guys made it this far, thank you for watching. Stay tuned because there's definitely more information to come. God bless you all. Remember to remain united because we're all prepping this together.